Exciting, thrilling, awesome. Let's take a look.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to Mets Talk Live right here on the channel. Hopefully everybody is enjoying their Friday so far. If you're at home, if you're at work, if you're in school, if you're anywhere right now listening or watching to the show, welcome, welcome, welcome. New York Mets fans, aren't we in a better place than we were a few months ago? 12 games over 500. How many times have we talked about we couldn't get over that 7-game over 500 mark, and we kept on getting 7 games, then back to 5, back to 4, back to 6, back to 7, back to 5, back and forth we go, and now we come off 2 sweeps in a row of the White Sox and the Red Sox. We took care of the Soxes, or Sox 2.0, however you like to call it, and now we got the Cincinnati Reds coming down for 3 to finish up the homestand, and the New York Mets got a lot of help yesterday as the Braves lost, the Diamondbacks lost, the Padres lost. They gained a half a game on everybody without even playing on Thursday, and guess what, guys? That's what we needed. That's what we needed, right? The Braves couldn't sweep the Rockies. The Padres lost in dramatic fashion, and the Diamondbacks lost as well. And this is exactly what we wanted. We needed a little bit of help. We all knew that the Mets can only do so much in the position that they were in. When you're behind the team, you need a little bit of help. Obviously, you worry about the Mets because if they don't take care of business, then it doesn't really matter because they can't help themselves. But yesterday, the Mets players were hanging out with their families, enjoying the day off. They didn't have to travel. They're at home. And we got some help. We got a half game off of all the leads that the teams that are in front of us, and now we are tied for the third wild card spot in the National League. So we've got not a lot of games to go, guys. Tonight is game 141 of the season. We are edging closer and closer to the end of the season. We got one of the toughest schedules in baseball left, but the Mets have done a good job against good teams. It's been the teams that are mediocre, not as of late, but has been a mediocre that they've had trouble with. Now, Cincinnati is that in-between type of team where they got a good couple of young players, and they could be a little bit dangerous. A lot of kids, a lot of prospects, or a lot of top prospects that are trying to stay in the league, prove to their organization that they're good. So these are always dangerous teams. They don't really got nothing to play for standings-wise, but they do actually have something to play for because they want to stay in Major League Baseball. And these teams are always dangerous. Always dangerous. And the Mets got to keep the energy, keep the pressure on these teams. Don't give up. Don't let up in these games at all, right? How about sweeping 3 series in a row, right? I know I don't like talking about sweeps until we win the first 2 games, but we are better than the Cincinnati Reds. Again, I'm always on board with series wins. You got to get the series wins. Series wins means absolutely nothing, right? It means a lot, but a sweep doesn't mean nothing if you can't at least try for a series win. And the key is winning the first game. When you win the first game, you got 2 opportunities to win the series. And if you win 2 in a row in that series, guess what? We can talk about the sweep all night and all day long. And that's what we got to continue to pound our heads. Again, we got exactly just over 20 games to go. We got, if I'm not mistaken, we played under 40. So we got 22 games to go. 22 games go, right? Say if the Mets go 12-10, right? Only 2 games over 500. That is 88 wins, right? The Braves have come back down to earth a little bit as well, where we got the same record, or excuse me, and I know I put 74 and 64. That is my fault on Atlanta, but it's 76 and 64, as well as, of course, I have to put a typo because what is it if we don't actually do it the right way, right? I did put in the division 74 and 64, which is not true. It's 76 and 64, but that's okay, right? The wild card standing is correct, and that's what we're worried about right now. We do remain around 8 games out of a division. Again, the division is not that far from reality, considering we played the Philadelphia Phillies 7 more times. We faced them 1 more time in Philly for 3, and then home for 4 at Cit Field. So there's definitely a lot of games that we have to play against Philly. And again, you want to talk about the division, we can talk about the division because it is within range. 22 games to go with 8 to play, that's called a possibility, right? That is still reality. So the good news is that the Mets have multiple avenues of making the playoffs, right? A week and a half, not even a week ago, we were talking about, all right, the Braves are the only possibility because it seemed like the Padres and the Diamondbacks were running away with things. Well, all of them, the Phillies kind of like leveled their ground. They haven't really been playing great, but they've been playing better, but not that good. And the Mets have been around 6.5, 8 games for a while now, and they caught up to the Braves. They're getting closer and closer to the Diamondbacks and the Padres. So there's multiple avenues now of making the playoffs. That is awesome to talk about because when your only possibility is chasing at one spot, it's a dangerous game to play, especially when you only face the team you're chasing 1 more time this year. And a lot of that series could be extremely important depending on what you do and they do over the last 19 games of the season, and obviously the 3 games that they play against each other. But the good news is that we got the tiebreaker with the Padres and the Diamondbacks. That's why the avenues to other spots of the wild card, the 1 and 2 spot, is very obtainable as well, depending on how the Mets do, and obviously how the Padres and the Diamondbacks do as well. But the most important thing here is that there's more avenues for a playoff spot. And that's the key that I wanted to talk about today on the show. As I'm gonna have a ton of shows today. Me and Chris are gonna be doing a pregame. Me and Chris are gonna be doing a postgame today. I didn't really care if I have to go into work later tonight. Doesn't matter. These games are extremely important. It's getting down to the nitty gritty. I want to be available, and I know myself and Chris want to be available as much as possible going forward for the last couple of weeks of the season and try to do as many shows as possible because this is exciting times, right? A lot of us thought that in September we'd be talking about the offseason and Alonso and the trade deadline and the sell-in and who knows what we're doing this offseason. And we didn't even think we'd be talking about meaningful games. At least most of us didn't in September, and we are. That's why it's exciting. We want, even when it's bad times, we still want to be here, but it's so much more fun to have a meaningful season and a playoff race in September. It's a lot more fun to do shows solo, with co-hosts, with a group. It's a lot more fun when things are going well. And the Mets still have a ton of work to do, but I was just looking at the overall picture of, right? I know some people are like, oh, it's going to take 89 wins. I believe if I'm not mistaken, I think Hector's still in the chat. I think Hector said he thinks it's going to take around 89 wins. If I'm not mistaken, Hector, if you're still there, please tell me if I'm wrong, but I think he said 89 wins. I think it's going to take between 87 and 89 wins. I don't think anybody's going to go maybe hit that 90 win mark, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't even think the Mets are going to get there either. But I think if the Mets get to 90, I think they're going to easily be in the wild card. Maybe not even a third. They might even get into the second wild card. And by the way, guys, there's a pretty good chance. And this is why for anybody, and this goes for Mets fans, Yankee fans, anybody who believes that your team that is possibly going to be in the playoffs is not good enough to go on a run and win a World Series, look at the records around baseball. The highest win total right now is 84. If I'm not mistaken, I didn't check it since yesterday, but let me just double check. I think it's only 84. Yeah. So it's 84. So the highest win total in Major League Baseball right now is 84 wins. That is the Phillies and the Dodgers. 84 wins. Most of them got 22 games to go. The Padres have about 20. So, and the Dodgers have about 20. So just think, guys, there's a strong possibility, unless somebody goes like 16-4 or 16-6 to end the regular season to get to 100 wins. There's a possibility that not one team in Major League Baseball is getting to the 100 win mark. And I know that's not the end all be all, but usually right now, the Dodgers are approaching like 100, and they'll be approaching 105, 106 wins, if not more, by the end of the season. And you'll have another team that has 100 wins. There's a possibility that not one team might have over 100 wins. And there's a pretty good chance that a lot of teams not going to have over 95 wins. So this is why this is such a season where if you make the playoffs, and I know baseball has been like that the last couple of seasons, but it's seemingly more that the parity in baseball has got a lot closer. And what I'm talking about is like these teams are not as good as any other team, right? You can look at the roster on paper and say, wow, how did the Dodgers even lose the game? Right? But if you watch them closely and pay attention to us, right? They have a ton of pitching issues. Their offense struggles after you get through the first 5 batters. So there's so much that we can talk about when it comes to, the possibility of the Mets going on a run, making the playoffs, getting to a World Series, winning the World Series, right? We all have that hope. Right, but there's still some people that are saying, why do I want the Mets to beat a third wildcard team? It's not like they're going to win the World Series anyway. There is no proof of that. And you should be more hopeful knowing that the last 2 seasons, the third wildcard team, the Diamondbacks and the Phillies, made the World Series. They didn't win it, but they made it. I'll tell you right now, I'd sign on the dotted line to make the World Series, and I'll let fate handle the rest. I think too many people like dismiss the fact that it's so possible to win a World Series in this day and age of baseball than it is in any other time. Go back to the early 2000s. Go back to the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, when there was less playoff teams, when there was you went right to the National League Championship Series and then the World Series. Right? Now you got multiple rounds to go. So, yeah, it seems harder, but there's more opportunities, more possibilities to go on a run, to make the World Series. It seems harder because of more rounds, but it's harder for the teams that have to sit around. As we've seen, the best records sit. They don't play. While the wildcard teams are fighting for their lives. And then they get into that series, and it seems like the team that has been sitting and haven't played, it takes them a game or, one or two games to get back into that baseball mindset and that baseball feeling and that energy. While the other team, that's a wild card team, or the team, or the third division winner, has a little bit of an advantage because they've been playing. So the good news is, when it comes to the New York Mets, is that they finally got over that 7-game over the 500 mark, and they're surpassing that by a decent margin, 12 games over 500. And they're tied with the Braves for the third wild card. They're second in the division, tied with the Braves. 8 games from the Philadelphia Phillies with 7 to play against the Philadelphia Phillies. They put themselves in a position to have multiple avenues to make the playoffs. And that is the first wild card, the second wild card, the third wild card, and a little bit further reach, but it's still reachable, is the division. So they got 4 avenues to make the playoffs. And this is what I wanted this show to revolve around, because of the fact that we were so focused on the Braves, because in reality, it seemed like the Padres and Diamondbacks were just going to run away with the second and first wild card. And all right, we got to deal with the Braves. The good news is we do play them 3 more times, but because of the way the Braves trickled back down to earth a little bit, the Mets have played outstanding. The Padres and Diamondbacks haven't been as hot as they were, as I think a lot of us should have known that they weren't going to stay as red hot as they were for the last month. They were going to cool off. For the benefit of the Mets, they cooled off in September, in late August, early September. That's great for us. The Mets seem like they're surging. Let's hope they keep that going throughout the month of September. We got a long way to go, a couple of weeks to go. But the avenues to the playoffs has increased. And that is the benefit of the Mets playing better and teams coming back down to earth. And I'll take multiple opportunities, multiple chances of getting into the playoffs. And like I said earlier, we have the tiebreaker between the Padres and the Diamondbacks. And right now, the Mets and Braves are 5-5 with the season series. The last 3 games is whoever wins that series is going to have the tiebreaker. If you win 2 out of 3, you're going to have a 1 game above the other team, and you win that season series as well. That might come into play. That tiebreaker might come into play, right? Even if the Mets don't surpass the Braves and they tie at the end of the year, you got to win that series. That series might not be crucial to move ahead of the Braves, but it might keep you neck and neck with the Braves. And then at the end of the season, guess what they look at? Season series, tiebreaker. So the goal here is to surpass the team for whatever wildcard spot you want to talk about. But the tiebreaker is so damn important as well. Now, at that point, when we get to the Braves series game, when there's 6 games left of the season and we face 3 more against the Braves and then the Brewers, that series, we might not be talking about a tiebreaker. We might be a few games ahead of the Braves where it might not come into play. We might be a few games behind the Braves where it might not come into play. But there's a pretty good chance that series is going to be extremely important, not just to surpass the Braves, but also a possibility of a tiebreaker and winning that tiebreaker as well. So, in the last 10 games, the Mets are 8-2. They swept both Sox, white and red. They are red hot right now. They're playing their best baseball, I think, of the season. The way they've been performing, I think Everything's coming together. The bullpen has been better. The starting pitching has been outstanding. The offense is scoring runs regardless of who you want to talk about. It seems like there's 2 or 3 guys every single night. Name them, they perform, right? It's been every single night. We know Lindor every night gets a couple of hits. He's always involved in the run scoring some way, somehow. Pete Alonso has been showing a little bit more power, which I like. I know the average scares me still. He still strikes out at a high level, but that whole lineup has been striking out a lot, which they have to slow down a little bit on. But they're definitely scoring runs, and that is a good thing. Nimmo seems like he's turning it around a little bit more. Again, JD is on paternity leave right now, but it's just been an outstanding performance, right? They had to sweep the White Sox, right? The Red Sox series we knew was going to be tough. This was a team that could score runs. Their bullpen is not very good, and their defense wasn't very good, but they played well defensively in this series, but their bullpen kind of messed them up in this series. The Mets did get to a couple of starters, but they also struck out a ton in this series. It was a weird series where they struck out a lot. They did score a lot of runs. They scored runs late. So the Red Sox bullpen kind of, messed them up in this series, which was the benefit of the New York Mets. And look, we won another game where Tyler McGill has pitched. The last 2 games he pitched, we won. And this is all we have to look forward to. Or we might not have to look forward to McGill much more when Blackburn comes back. But when McGill pitches, all you ask from a guy who is a fringe 5 starter, possibly a 6 starter out of the rotation within a week, just leave the game with your team having a chance, either to lead, tied, or down a run or 2. That's what I always talk about. Too many people say, oh, my God, Tyler McGill, we ain't going to get nowhere near 7 innings from him in 1 run. You got to stop thinking like that. When it comes to Tyler McGill or any 5th starter, specifically, maybe even your 4th starter, their job is to keep their team in the game when they leave. That is the key. And he's done that. He's pitched, I wouldn't say really good, but it was a quality start. I think both times he left with a lead. That's all you got to ask for from your 4th and 5th starter. Your 1 through 3 starters is the guys who he's like, all right, guys, you know what? Give us 6, 7 innings. Give us 1 or 2 runs. Give us when they start, like a Manaea, like a Severino, when they start, even David Peterson at this point, I'm going to throw in there. Those 3 guys, when they're on the mound, I expect to win. When it comes to Tyler McGill and Jose Quintana, who are basically your 4th and 5th starter, and even Blackburn as well, I don't necessarily go into that game like, all right, they're going to win us a ball game. I feel like that when Manaea, Severino, and Peterson pitches, where I'm like, they're gonna give us every opportunity to win. When it comes to Quintana, McGill, Blackburn, I don't see it like that. I see it as keep us in the ball game, give our team a chance to win once you leave the game. That's what I hope for when they pitch. And that's the way you gotta look at when it comes to those guys, right? Don't have high expectations for those type of guys. If they pitch a gem, great. I'll take it every single day. But don't overlook what they are as a pitcher. And their job at this point is throwing quality games, keeping your team in the ball game, and when you leave the game, leave with the opportunity of your team winning that ball game. Win an opportunity. Now, again, many ways of you can call an opportunity, but I see it as you have a lead, you leave with a lead, you leave with a tie game, you leave down a run or 2, nothing more than that. That is the way I look at it. So let's get into the comments. I know the comments are rolling through right now. Make sure you hit on that like button, guys. Let me just check. And Chris, that is a great job by you. I want to throw up that comment right now. When he says, yeah, Mendoza, look, McGill was like kind of losing it a little bit. And Mendoza was like, fuck this. He's coming out of the game, right? It was a quick trigger. But you know what? Mendoza felt like McGill was going to self-destruct. Before he did that, he pulled him. And this is the thing where Analytics probably told him nothing about that because McGill, you can look at pitch count, could have kept him in, right? Could have gave him another inning, right? Let's not use the bullpen. But what did he do? He's like, oh, McGill's pitching. We got a day off tomorrow. Great. We're pulling them. We're using our bullpen. We're going to everybody today. Because Mendoza knew we had to win that ball game. Finish the sweep. And Mendoza played like that game, like that was the only game that mattered. That Friday did not matter until we get to that point. And we had the off day, which helped tremendously. Mendoza used his gut there and saying, I don't think McGill has another inning in him, even though probably some analytics, probably some numbers said he probably had another inning in him, especially with the pitch count. So that is what I liked. This is what I like about Mendoza, right? We can question him about bullpen decisions every now and then, why put him in this inning or whatever. But for the most part, his gut decisions have worked very well over this season. For a rookie manager to make those calls, I don't care if it was game 140. Those are decisions that you don't see a lot of rookie managers make. Either they're too scared to do it, or they don't make it because the book doesn't say so. There's enough times this year where Mendoza went against the book and used his gut. How many times did he go on the mound? Kept Severino in the game, kept Minaya in the game, sometimes kept Quintana in the ball game, kept the reliever in, where he felt like, all right, should I take him out? He got one out to go. He goes out to the mound, talks to the pitcher, see his thought process, see his mental, see how he is, how he feels, and boom, keeps him in the ball game. That is not by the book. That is not analytics. That is pure gut decision. I love that about Mendoza. And I appreciate the fact that he is a guy that uses both aspects of managing, your gut and the numbers. And that is something that I don't think we've seen enough of in baseball. Too many times it's right to the book, and it's so freaking annoying because, right, it can work. We understand that a decision only looks good when it works, right? We know we're all going to be Monday morning quarterbacks, and when that decision don't work, we're going to bitch and moan about it, right? We know he's not going to be perfect. No manager is. But it just seems like lineup changes when some people didn't think of like, wow, why would you make that move, right? People bitching and moaning about who's in the lineup that day when he's been mixing and matching, especially with the outfield that we have, the ton of depth that we have in the outfield. I don't care who plays in the outfield. I really don't. Every day, we throw out a quality outfield in the lineup every single day. Defense and even with the bat. The Lindor, the infield is the mainstay, right? I don't question lineup changes anymore. Like that Lindor leadoff move, I don't care. Was it a Stearns decision? Was it a Mendoza decision? Was it both of their minds coming together? But it worked. It worked tremendously. I mean, you turned Lindor into a guy that was one of the worst hitters in baseball the first month and a half of the season and turned him into an MVP candidate just by moving him to the leadoff spot. I don't know what it is. Now, he could have been batting third still and still have this type of season, but we're never going to know. We do know that they moved him to the leadoff spot, and he's been probably the second best player in baseball offensively overall as a player, and I believe should be the MVP because I'm sick and tired of a DH that now if Ohtani was pitching as well and doing these numbers, that is just godly. Like I would even talk about Lindor deserving the MVP. But because Ohtani is not pitching and not doing both and putting up those offensive numbers, he gets to sit down. He gets to take a breather. Lindor doesn't. So he might hit 40 and 40 or 50 and 50 home runs, stolen bases, and all that fun stuff. But Lindor is doing everything. When he hits He's got to get ready to go back to defense and play top-tier defense as well. And that's why, starting today, every show I do, I'm going to do a short, every YouTube short every single day for Francisco Lindor to win the MVP for the National League. Every single day. I'm going to say it on this Mets Talk Live, on the pregame, on the postgame, and every day, starting on September 6th, today, Friday, I'm going to do a YouTube short and have Met fans comment, like that YouTube short to get it out there every single day until the season is over. Francisco Lindor, the 2024 National League MVP. Vote. Hit that like button if you agree. That's what I'm going to do every single day because he deserves it. Now, he has to keep it up in the last couple of weeks of the season, but I expect him to at this point. This guy deserves the MVP because the most valuable player to me, and it should be to these writers, is all aspects of the game. If you take Lindor off the Mets would be nowhere near where they are right now. You take Ohtani off the Dodgers, why would the Dodgers be anywhere else than where they are right now? They've done it the last couple of seasons. He didn't make them better. You could say that he actually made them worse because they're not going to win 100 games this year, most likely. They've won over 100 games the last couple of seasons. So how did Ohtani help them overall? I don't think he has. He's a great player. But the most valuable is a guy that if you take them out of the team, off the team, is that team as good or better? The Mets case? Absolutely not. I would say that it would be 10 games worse if Lindor wasn't on this team, if not more. Ohtani, what is it, 1 or 2 games maybe? They've had better seasons prior when he wasn't on the team. So, starting today, Mets Talk Live. It is 11:30. Francisco Lindor, 2024 National League MVP. Hit that like button if you agree and comment in the chat right now. And look out today for, I'll probably be driving because I got to do some errands. I'm going to do a YouTube short. And I'm going to say in that video, Mets fans, baseball writers, Francisco Lindor, 2024 National League MVP. Hit that like button if you agree and comment MVP 12 in the comment section. That's what I'm going to do every single day because that guy deserves it. With that said, guys, the New York Mets got a series tonight. Sean Manaea on the mound for the New York Mets. Game 1 of the series against the Reds. Fernando Cruz, we don't know about the other 2 pitchers for game 2 and 3, but we do know it's Manaea, Quintana, Severino. 2 of the 3 games in this series, we have the advantage. We have guys that we want on the mound. Go out there. Think about winning a series. We win the first 2, I'll talk sweep about with you all day. Right now, you win series. Keep winning series. Look, I'd love to sweep the homestand. I hope it happens. I think we all hope it happens. The Mets have been playing extremely well right now. They've been doing the job. All aspects have been coming together full circle. And this is what we want them to continue to do for the last 22 games of the season. Game 141 tonight with Manaea on the mound. I'm confident we're going to win. Because when Manaea, when Severino, when Peterson pitches, I expect them to win us a ball game. So, yeah, Sanders, I agree with you when it comes to the 290, 300. He might still get there. What is he betting? 272? If I'm not mistaken, let me double check that right now. I think the last time I checked, it was 272, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Let's see. He is betting 274. It's a possibility. Now, I don't know if he's going to have enough at bats to get to 290. He has to go crazy. But if he ends 280 with 35 home runs and 100 RBIs. That's MVP season. And again, his OPS over 840. Stolen bases, he's going to have over 30 stolen bases. So he's going to have over 30 home runs, over 30 steals, probably 100 RBIs, OPS over 800. I mean, it's just an outstanding season all around. All around. He's having an outstanding season all around. Let's see, what else? Let me just double check. Yeah, it's just outstanding season, man. 157 hits, 38 doubles, 1 triple. Let's see. 50 walks, which is not talked about enough. His strikeouts are down from every year, the last 2 seasons. With 117, he'll probably have, will he strike out 20 more times? Then he'll hit his high total as a Met. I mean, it's just everything. Everything. On base, 343. Slugging, 501. I mean, it's just insane what he's been doing. All right, let's just check. If Lindor if Lindor played even average in April and May, he might have 40 home runs. I mean, he could still hit 40 home runs. I mean, I don't know if he can hit 10 more home runs in 22 games. He could. If Lindor hits 40 home runs, that's easily going to get him over 100 RBIs. I'm sorry, guys. That's MVP caliber. I'm sorry. With a team that had no expectation and not even a thought of making the playoffs by most people, he freaking carried this team. He still carries this team. That would be crazy. Rob, will we go pack go tonight or what? Oh, yeah, absolutely. We all hate the Eagles. Fly Eagles die. The hell with the Eagles. Go pack go. Let it happen. Beat their asses tonight in Brazil, in Sao Paulo. Easy, 100%. First game is a key. Chris talks about that, as a religion. He talks, win that first game. You win that first game, the possibilities are almost endless. You got a major chance of winning the series. You got 2 opportunities, obviously. And that's the goal. Win today's game. And now we can talk about the possibility or the opportunity, 2 opportunities to win the series. You win the first 2, we know what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be getting those brooms out at Cit Field. The crowds are going to be crazy this weekend. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy weekend. It's going to be a packed Cit Field Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right? First week of school in New York or in a tri-state. First weekend from when school started. The kids are going to be enjoying themselves. The parents are going to be enjoying themselves. It's going to be an outstanding atmosphere at Cit Field with the Mets 76 and 64. 12 games over 500. Tied in the wild card. 2.5 from the Diamondbacks. 3 from the Padres. And 8 from the Phillies. What I said earlier, if you're just tuning in, the New York Mets put themselves in a position where there's multiple avenues. This is the sentence, the quote of the stream. Multiple avenues to make the playoffs. Wild card 1, wild card 2, wild card 3, and a little out of reach, but still obtainable, is the division. Because not only do we have 7 games to play against the Phillies, 4 at home, 3 on the road at Citizens Bank, but there's still 22 games to go. By the time we face the Phillies, which is right after Toronto, which is 6 games away, we might be closer to the Phillies by the time we face them in Philadelphia with 3 games. Let's go. No more excuses. Next man up mentality. Your name's in the lineup. You're on the mound. You're called from the bullpen. You're called to pinch run, pinch hit, do your job. That goes for every single player on this team. I don't care if you're numero uno or the last man on the roster. Your name is called. Do your job. You do your job, the Mets are going to have an excellent chance of winning that game. With Shomania on the mound, I don't expect anything less from him except the dominant performances he's been giving us over the last month and a half. This guy is our ace. He's pitched like it. He's pitching like a bulldog. He's going to do it tonight. The Mets are going to do it tonight. I expect to win and get the 13 games over 500. And by tonight, I'm going to say this. I feel very confident the Braves are going to be looking up at us by end of night tonight. And we'll talk about it in the pregame to preview the game even further. We'll talk about the lineup. We'll talk about the pitching matchup. Myself and Chris will be in the pregame talking about the preview, talking about what lineup we're going to be seeing. I mean, you can't get mad at any lineup at this point. It's been that good, regardless of who's in the lineup. They've been scoring runs. Can't wait. Ready to go. Pumped up. After the show, gotta do some errands. Look out for that YouTube short about Francisco Lindor MVP. I said it earlier. I'm going to say it again. Every show I do, I'm going to bring up Francisco Lindor 2024 NL MVP. Make sure you hit that like button if you agree. Comment if you agree. Make sure you look out for that YouTube short a little later today. Every single day I'm doing a YouTube short. Francisco Lindor, NL MVP for 2024. Hit that like button, comment if you agree. We're going to make that damn short every single day go viral. Make other fans of other teams get sick of it. Make sure it hits those baseball writers to the core because they better do their homework. Do not just vote for Ohtani to vote for Ohtani. Go deep into these stats and tell me Lindor does not deserve the NL MVP every single day. I'm going to do a YouTube short. Make sure you check that out when I post it. You make sure you hit that like button and comment MVP 12 every single time when I put up that YouTube short about Francisco Lindor. So, guys, it's always been a pleasure. A little bit of a early morning into lunchtime Mets Talk Live here on a Friday. 3-game series coming up against the Reds at Cit Field. 12 games over 500, 76-64, 8 from the division, tied with the Braves, 2.5 out of the second wild card, 3 from the first wild card. Quote of the day: multiple avenues to make the playoffs. Wild card 1, 2, and 3, and within reach is the division. With that said, guys, enjoy the rest of your Friday. If you're home, working, school, doesn't matter. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you for the pregame with myself and Chris, and also a postgame all later tonight. With that said, guys, everybody, have a great day. Rest of your Friday. Enjoy the day. Let's go, Mets. And I'll see you next time, guys. See you later tonight for the pregame and postgame. Have a good rest of your Friday. Let's go, Mets.